What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it really helps out our channel. And with that being said, we're just going to move straight in to today's stories. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from Zaska. Am I the arsehole for uninviting my parents to my wedding after my mum said, I don't care about your fucking wedding? I'm engaged to the love of my life. We'll call her Sarah. Sarah doesn't have issues with my parents, but there's a little tension on both sides, and no one has attempted to be close. Which is fine, I guess. It makes me a little sad that they're not more excited about her. Sarah asked my mum the other day if she would help make centerpieces. Sarah's into DIY, but we are running out of time and she was asking around to see who would be willing to help. She admitted to my mum that it was kind of grunt work and she didn't want to. No pressure. My mum got offended and said of course she doesn't want to, we haven't cared about her at all. So she doesn't care about our effing wedding. This hurt Sarah, but she didn't fight back. Sarah told me and I called my mum. Honestly, I probably went into it a bit aggressively, but I yelled at her for saying that to Sarah. My mum said that Sarah hasn't included her in any of the fun parts or cared about her opinion on anything, so why would she help make centerpieces? I asked her to apologise to Sarah and my mum said no. She was done talking about it, so I uninvited her to the wedding. My dad sent a text because I said he could still come and pretty much told me to F off if I thought he would come without my mum. My mum is now upset because everyone is going to ask where she is. Sarah is very happy and feels like I defended her, and literally everyone else thinks I'm the arsehole. Chapstick Lover says info, are your parents monetarily contributing to your wedding? And OP replies, no, but they did offer and rescind the down payment for a house as a wedding gift. And Lila Amamama says, I'm going to go with not the arsehole. It's a pandemic. If places are open and decisions were able to be made, it's likely that was capacity limits, social distancing, etc. in play. That would be a factor. Secondly, it's not typically the mother-in-law who's supposed to be involved in any of these. It's on the bride, groom, and especially the bridal party to help with this stuff. Your wife is asking her to help was already an extension of support, not typically given and not entitled to. It's yours and your wife's wedding, not for you guys to go running for her opinion at every point. It sounds like your mother was expecting that or is simply lashing out because she's losing her child. By any chance are you the only /first/last child to get married? And is your mother a more enmeshed/prone codependency type? Edit to a gentle you're the arsehole. The wedding stuff aside, you have much bigger issue at hand than the immediate outburst of your mother. To which OP replied, only child, she isn't really enmeshed, but she had her ovaries removed because of cancer very young, and I think she resents that I'm the only kid she has, and not the kid she wanted. To which Read and replies, so this is your mum's only chance to see one of her children get married, and Sarah is cutting her out of everything. Do you really want to spend your life married to such a spiteful snob? And OP replies, if it makes you feel any better, multiple cousins are threatening to crash and destroy the wedding, so maybe they will let mum plan their wedding someday. And Help a Volunteer Out says, info, did your mum ask to be included in the fun stuff? Why didn't Sarah include her in any of it? And OP replies, no, mum was raised that you don't ever ask for something like that. It is rude and imposing, so you have to wait to be invited. Sarah didn't invite her just because she doesn't enjoy being around her and didn't feel obligated to invite her. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and what would you do in it? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from John. Am I the arsehole for telling my daughter, 16 female, that she's lazy as F because she won't get up in the mornings? My daughter, who just turned 16 years old, has always been a bit lazy and or careless. She loads the dishwasher sloppily sometimes, takes a good 5 minutes to get ready to walk the dog instead of just putting on a coat and going, and she leaves a mess wherever she goes. When she gets super into something, it seems to disappear for a year. The year prior to when COVID started to get bad and shut down school clubs and eventually schools. She'd wake up at 5:30 AM 4 times a week to get practice before school. And she's just very active in general because she's engaged in 2 different sports several times a week. She can also stay up for hours when she's writing a creative writing assignment or essay. She enjoys writing. However, the worst thing for her is waking up in the morning. It's always been so bad, to the point where I have to enter her room and drag her ankles out of bed. Unless she has volleyball. Not that she has volleyball recently, so it's almost on an everyday occurrence. It's horrible. She doesn't even get out when she desperately needs to pee. So COVID started, she'd gotten so much lazier as well, to the point where she skips out on showering for days on end unless she's going to the park with her friends, simply because no one will see her. She's also behind in all subjects except one, geography, because she really likes doing it. She can spend 3 hours on one geography essay, but doesn't touch any of her other work. That's not normal. In every other subject, even the ones she loves, like history and English, she starts doing the work and after 5 minutes she stops, leading to an increasing amount of phone calls home. Her grades have dropped down from all A's and 1 B from when she was in school physically to several B's, 2 C's and only 1 A. Yes, in geography. She had also started eating a lot more, to the point where I noticed her eating habits. She's still skinny as a stick and only 4.5 kilograms off from being medically underweight because she's tall and naturally lean, but I've definitely noticed an uptake, especially in junk food and soda, and she is acting noticeably less energetic. I'm not starving her, she eats plenty, she just seems to have a fast metabolism and does a lot of sport. It's like she did a complete flip from being energetic and easygoing and hanging out with her friends every day after school. Even then she tried to get away with as little work as possible when doing chores, to someone who is much more inclined to do less around the house and much less schoolwork. She cannot organise anything as well and procrastinates like it's her job. This is where I think I'm maybe the arsehole. This morning, it was the usual morning battle. I was telling her to get up, to which she at first ignored me and then told me she was about to get up. I snapped and told her she was lazy as fuck and that she needs to pull herself together and that she was just like her father and her laziness not only terrifies me, but it's going to be the reason that she fails in life. She didn't respond. I thought about it later and I feel really guilty. So am I the arsehole for saying that? I feel bad, but I also feel like it may have been necessary for her to get herself together. She's been acting even more careless than usual though, which makes me think that I'm a huge ass for saying that, especially the comparison to her father. She has a stepdad now who she adores, more than me I'm convinced. Her stepdad also said that what I did was horrible and I should apologise immediately, but I just snapped. Thanks in advance for the replies, I'll accept any judgment. And there is a couple of edits to this post which we'll cover straight away, which says, a lot of people said she has depression. I think she may be struggling, but I wouldn't say it's depression. She still seems somewhat happy, not as energetic and free-spirited as she used to, but that's to be expected when she sees her friends much less. She gets exercise because she walks the dog twice a day and runs with him in the park, so she gets sunlight as well. Edit 2, some people are also suggesting ADHD. I really doubt it. I mean, I'll get her to take an online test, but ADHD is different. She just doesn't want to do things. She wants to get away with as little work as possible. That's just a fact. If she had ADHD, why would she have good grades across the board when in school? Not online. She consistently gets A's and A stars in almost every subject and gets among the top 3 scores in her class in almost every test she takes. When she wants to be bothered, she is bothered, but only things she's very excited about, like volleyball or rock climbing trip. Then she has no problem waking up. Now this story just seems crazy to me, the lack of empathy OP seems to have for their own daughter in this situation, almost criticising her for not getting up at 5:30 AM anymore, which is absolutely insane. That's crazy time to be getting up. I mean, if you can do it, fair play to you, but wow. And imagine if the daughter heard their parent talking like this way about them, how would they feel? I'm sure they wouldn't like it at all. And the edits came across as quite disturbing to me as well, like they were like playing down any sort of potential mental health issues. I'm not saying there is any there, but the way they just totally dismiss it, like, oh no, she still seems somewhat happy and not quite as energetic and free-spirited as she used to, but that's expected. And then saying some people were suggesting ADHD and it says, oh, I get to do an online test, but I don't think so, kind of thing. And it's like, well, you don't really know. And in the current world situation, people are suffering from all sorts at the minute with, you know, being segregated from their friends, their activities, the things that they love doing. It's a very hard time for people. But Jelly Bear says, you're the arsehole. Do you even like your daughter? Listen to how you're talking about her. My mum spoke about me like this to people and I cut her out completely. If you want your kid to never speak to you again, this is a fantastic start. ETA, your second edit literally describes how ADHD presents in young women. You are a horrible parent. And Heroaway account says you're the arsehole. Instead of helping your daughter in any way, shape or form, you blame her for her depression and unmotivation and then curse at her. This isn't her fault, and you should have the balls to actually parent instead of blaming things on her she can't control. We're in a pandemic and school is not the same online. No wonder she's struggling. You don't seem the most compassionate or supportive. And Elope says, God, 5 minutes to get ready to walk the dog. Fucking hell, get over yourself, lol. You're the arsehole. And Better Fish Sandwich says, you're the arsehole. As a 16 female, I can tell you that online school and life in general right now seems pointless. Beyond pointless. We're in a literal pandemic. You can't blame her for being a little more lazy and eating more. Why does that even matter? Then cursing at her and telling her that feeling lazy in a global pandemic is going to be the reason she fails in life. Shows her that you think she's going to fail and isn't worth anything. Do you like your daughter? Because you're walking down a road to never know her and get yourself cut off. So check yourself before you're about to wreck yourself. Ice Cube, baby. And Glowing Lime says, so her world gets turned upside down from COVID. She loses access to things she loves. She's simply not an early riser like millions of others with her, and is at the peak age where things like depression and so on can manifest and are in full force. Your reaction when you notice a worrying change in behaviour when the world is crumbling around her is to curse at her instead of talking to her. You're the arsehole and a glittering example of a failure at parenting. You owe her a huge apology, and don't be surprised if she hesitates to talk to you about anything for a bit, possibly ever. She might be going through some stuff and you responded with nastiness. Edit, oh my gosh, my first silver. Thank you, kind friend. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Basic Nebula. Am I the arsehole for selling my expensive Christmas present without telling my boyfriend? I, 25 female, started my master's program last year, right before the world became dystopian. My boyfriend, 34 male, and I have been together for 4 years, and he has watched me scrimp and save in order for me to afford to go to school. I mean, I was poor. Anyways, for Christmas this year, he surprised me with a really nice and expensive computer, since all of my school is online. I was incredibly grateful for the gift and did not expect it at all. In fact, I told him he needed to return it because my old computer was fine. He assured me this was my gift to do what I needed in order to graduate school. However, this was the first very expensive gift my boyfriend has bought me. He's bought me some jewelry that was around $100, which I considered to be expensive, but this computer was in the thousands. What I did not expect was how this computer was going to be used as a bargaining tool for months to come. Every week he'll ask me for money. When I say, no, we really need to save for this blank fund, he'll say, well, we could have did that with your computer, but I still got it for you, so you owe me. It's been several conversations like this, both joking and serious, about how I owe him for the computer. I've had several conversations about this with him and told him I don't appreciate how he's using the computer for leverage when he wants me to get him something. He'll apologise, but a week later brings it up again. It's become such a source of contention that I told him I was going to sell the computer and buy a cheaper one and give him back the bulk of the money. I didn't like having this expensive of a computer anyways, and did find it to be a waste of his money. He told me not to, which resulted in a big argument. I firmly told him that it's my gift and I can do what I want with it. I'm unsure that if he thought I was bluffing or not, but I sold my computer today to a good friend who paid near brand new price. I bought myself a cheaper laptop and gave him the bulk of his money back. He is furious at me for not keeping his very nice gift, however, I felt like it was the only way to solve the conflict. Am I the arsehole? When we first came into this story, I thought you was literally like he bought you an expensive laptop and you needed to sell that to get the money to be able to graduate school for something, and I thought, oh my god, you're just going to sell it just like that. And I could see how the boyfriend would be hurt in this situation, but you're absolutely not the arsehole. If he's controlling you with gifts like that, it's very concerning, and I know Reddit's going to go down the route of talking about the age gap and the controlling behavior too. Is going to be a big play in this one. I can certainly feel it. So we're going to go straight to the comments first to see what they say. And Miss Baseball 34 says not the arsehole, and those are huge red flags are flying. I hope he has more redeeming qualities. All I see are control issues. And Opie replies, I'm not going to be the person to say he's never been this way before. Our relationship is perfect, because that would be a lie. However, he does have many redeeming qualities I love about him. We just have very different opinions when it comes to money, which, as any couple can tell you, is difficult for most anyways. But I promise he is wonderful in many ways. This is just one thing that maybe some therapy can help us fix. And Pope says not the arsehole, but honestly, I consider this a huge red flag. I'd hate to bring it up, but he is a lot older than you, and using money and gifts to try and manipulate you is very concerning behaviour. And Lily the Fur Kid says, not the arsehole, well done for getting rid of the leverage, but I do agree with others, the red flags this early in the relationship don't bode well for the future. Abusive, controlling men are often full of apparently redeeming traits, but when he has you dependent, barefoot and pregnant, you'll find it bloody hard to get away. If he puts a ring on it, he may also up the ante of abuse, get physical as well. I speak from experience. I wish you all the best and hope you are right about him being a good man, despite his controlling behaviours. And Photo Beers and Teach says, not the arsehole, you're missing the other way you could have solved the conflict. Dumped your manipulative boyfriend. And now, what would you do in this situation if your partner was doing this? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And our next story comes from DN2468. Am I the arsehole for continuing my tradition of taking my kids out to dinner even though I remarried and have stepchildren? Throwaway since I use Reddit personally. I'm 36 years old and a father of 2. My kids are 15 and 13. I was high school sweethearts of sorts with their mother. It was just your common case of 2 kids getting married way too young and not knowing what everything entailed. All in all, we divorced by the time I was 28. My ex and I are on good terms and we do a nice job at co-parenting even though we are not together. I live 2 towns over from her, about a 15-minute drive, so the kids stay with me every Friday to Monday. 4 years ago, I met my current wife. We got married a year and a half ago and now she and her 2 kids live with me. Her boys are 9 and 7. I get along with her kids and I try to do all I can for them since their dad isn't a great guy. The house sometimes gets a little crowded when my 2 kids are over, but mine spend a lot of time in their rooms. Since my kids were little, I've always enjoyed taking them out to eat every other Friday. It's a tradition I've continued since. My kids really enjoy this time together and it's really helped us deal with the divorce. Now that I'm remarried and sometimes get busy, these dinners aren't always on Friday, nor are they as frequent as every other week. But once or twice a month I make sure my kids and I go out to eat. My wife has always been cool with it, at least until somewhat recently. To be clear, I go out to eat with my wife and the 4 kids a lot, usually once a weekend, and then dinner Monday through Thursday is always with my wife and her 2 boys. My wife started to ask why I still have these dinners that are exclusively with my 2 kids. I told her it's the tradition and my kids and I enjoy the time together. She said I'm remarried and have stepchildren, there shouldn't be any more me and my kids dinners. I told her that we all go out to eat together way more frequently than I go with just my kids, and that we go out less than we used to before I got remarried, so I'm compromising a bit. She still insists that it's wrong to take my kids out to dinner when we pretend I don't have a new wife and 2 stepchildren. I don't know where she got that from, but that's what she said. And we'll start with Luminous Cherry and quoting, where we pretend I don't have a wife and 2 stepkids. And then says, not the arsehole, that's not what you're doing. It's so important for kids in blended families to feel they are still valued and still get one-on-one time, especially given the age differences here. Teenage children have different topics they care about and need different attention. Doing things with your children from your first marriage alone sometimes does not invalidate the other time you spend with your wife and stepchildren, and she should be understanding that you have multiple priorities since she does as well. And Autumn says, not the arsehole, you already spend plenty of time with your wife and your stepchildren, and you spend time with them plus your 2 bio kids as well. So really what she's asking you to do is stop spending quality time with your bio kids full stop. That's unreasonable. You get plenty of alone time with your stepkids, I'm assuming during the week, but you're not allowed to spend any alone time at all with your bio kids. Your wife is being unreasonable. I would pick this hill to die on. If you choose to stop or phase out your dinners with your bio kids, they will notice and they will resent you. Don't let her insecurity damage your relationship with them. And YH Cran says, hi, product of a broken home here. Let me start with, not the arsehole, multiple times. You're not being selfish, rude, inconsiderate, a dick, or anything like that. You're carrying on a tradition that existed previously to maintain a relationship and create a semblance of stability in your kids' lives. You mentioned you do plenty of things with wife number 2 stepkids every week and quite often with all 4 kids. By her logic, birthdays aren't allowed to happen anymore, or Mother's Day, Father's Day. Don't do anniversaries either. You don't want anyone to feel excluded, ever. Everyone has to be included for everything, always. Now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation, and what would you do in it? Let me know in the comments below. Now once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. A huge thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. It really does mean the world, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Much love.